Jack Miller sat at his desk in the Earth Diplomatic Corps headquarters and stared at the message on his screen. He read it 3 times to make sure he understood correctly. The Interstellar Council wanted him, a junior lieutenant with barely 2 years of service, to represent humanity in a critical first contact situation. "This can't be right," he muttered, running a hand through his short brown hair. His office door slid open, and Commander Betty White walked in. Her face was serious. "I see you got the assignment," she said, noticing the message on his screen. "There must be a mistake. I'm not qualified for this level of diplomatic engagement," Jack replied. Betty shook her head. "There's no mistake. You were specifically requested. But why me?" "Because everyone else who's tried has failed. Spectacularly." Betty tapped on his screen, bringing up a video feed. Jack watched as an alien diplomat approached a quarantine chamber. Inside stood a tall figure with skin that shimmered between deep purple and blue. The alien diplomat took 3 steps forward, then suddenly collapsed to the floor, trembling uncontrollably. "What happened to him?" Jack asked. "Fear, pure, overwhelming fear. This has happened with representatives from 17 different species now. Warriors, diplomats, scientists. It doesn't matter. No one can get within 10 feet of her without being overcome by terror." Jack studied the figure in the chamber more carefully. The alien woman had 6 silver eyes and moved with a grace that seemed almost like flowing water. She didn't look frightening to him. "Who is she?" he asked. "Her name is Vexalia, from the Cygnus cluster. She arrived at the council station 3 days ago, requesting medical assistance for her people, but no one can get close enough to help her." "And they think I can?" Betty nodded. "Human neurological structures are different from most galactic species. The council scientists believe we might be immune to whatever is causing the fear response." Jack frowned. "So I'm basically a guinea pig." "You're our best chance at establishing communication with a potentially important new species," Betty corrected him. "Your shuttle leaves in 2 hours. Pack light." The journey to the council station took 4 days. Jack spent most of it studying everything known about the mysterious visitor. It wasn't much. The Cygnus cluster was largely unexplored, and Vexalia's species had never been documented before. When Jack arrived at the station, he was met by a nervous group of council security officers. They kept their distance from the quarantine section. "We'll be monitoring from the control room," said the chief security officer, a tall insectoid being named Zix. "If you feel any unusual fear, any at all, activate your emergency beacon immediately." Jack nodded, trying to hide his own nervousness. Not because of the alien, but because billions across the galaxy would be watching this meeting. The quarantine chamber door slid open. Jack took a deep breath and stepped inside. Vexalia turned toward him. All 6 of her silver eyes widened. Jack waited for the wave of terror to hit him. Nothing happened. He felt perfectly calm. "Hello," he said simply. "My name is Jack Miller. I'm a representative of Earth." The alien woman tilted her head. When she spoke, her voice was like chimes in the wind. "You are not afraid of me," she said. It wasn't a question. "Should I be?" Jack asked. For the first time in days, Vexalia's posture relaxed. "No, but everyone else is." "Well, I'm not everyone else." Jack smiled and took another step forward. "I understand you need help." In the control room, the council representatives watched in amazement as the human casually conversed with the being they had named the Terror of Cygnus. News spread quickly across the galactic networks. Humans could do what no other species could. They could stand in the presence of Vexalia without fear. And that simple fact was about to change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. Jack and Vexalia sat across from each other in the quarantine chamber. The walls were clear, allowing the council members to observe from a safe distance. Jack noticed how they flinched whenever Vexalia moved, even though they were protected by the barriers. "I don't understand," Vexalia said. Her voice had a musical quality that Jack found pleasant. "On my world, I am nothing special. I am a medical researcher, not a warrior or someone to be feared. Tell me about your world, Jack said. He took out a small recording device and placed it on the table between them. The more we know, the better we can help. Vexilia's skin shifted to a deeper blue. My home is called Vixar. It orbits a binary star in what you call the Cygnus cluster. She paused, her 6 eyes blinking in sequence. It was once beautiful. Now many of my people are sick. That's why you came here. For medical help. She nodded, a gesture she must have learned from observing humans. Yes, our scientists believe something is changing in our biology. It is affecting our natural abilities. What natural abilities? Jack asked. Before Vexalia could answer, the door to the chamber opened. A human woman in a lab coat entered. She carried a medical scanner and showed no signs of fear. Vexalia's eyes widened again in surprise. Another one who is not afraid, she said. This is Dr. Nancy Reed, Jack explained. She's our top xenobiologist. Nancy smiled at Vexalia. I'd like to run some basic scans, if that's okay with you. Nothing invasive, just collecting data. Vexalia agreed, and Nancy began her work. Outside the chamber, Jack could see the council representatives pressing closer to the viewing glass, amazed to see a second human unaffected by whatever caused the fear response. Your readings are fascinating, Nancy said after several minutes. You're producing a quantum field that fluctuates at a very specific frequency. She looked at Jack. I've never seen anything like it. Is that what scares the others? Jack asked. Possibly. I'll need to compare these readings with brain scans from affected species. Nancy turned to Vexalia. You said your people are sick. Are they experiencing changes in this field? Yes, Vexalia replied. It grows stronger as the sickness progresses. Many can no longer be near each other without causing distress. Jack thought about this. So your people are becoming more terrifying to others, and even to each other. Vexalia's skin darkened to an almost black purple. Yes, we are becoming isolated, even from our own families. That is why I risked coming here. We need help before we lose everything. The main communication screen in the chamber lit up. The council leader, a tall being with 4 arms and green scales, appeared. He kept his eyes averted from Vexalia. Lieutenant Miller, he said, a full human medical team has been approved to study this situation. The council is grateful for humanity's unique ability to assist in this matter. Jack nodded. Thank you, council leader. After the call ended, Nancy continued her scans. There's something odd here, she said. This quantum frequency seems to trigger responses in the primitive parts of most species' brains. It's like an ancient evolutionary fear response. But not in humans, Jack noted. No, our brains developed on Earth, isolated from whatever evolutionary pressures created this response in other species. Vexalia looked between them. You believe you can help my people. We're going to try, Jack promised. But first, we need to understand exactly what's happening to you. Later that day, Jack sent his first report back to Earth. The news was already spreading across human colonies. Humanity had a special place in the galaxy now. They alone could interact with the mysterious Vixari without fear. As Jack finished his report, he looked through the window of his temporary quarters. The vast spread of stars reminded him of how small Earth was in the grand scheme of things. Yet somehow, that smallness, that isolation, had given humans an unexpected advantage. Sometimes being different wasn't a weakness. Sometimes it was exactly what was needed. 1 week passed on the council station. The human medical team grew to 12 people, all working to understand Vexalia's condition. Jack spent most of his time with her, learning about Vixari culture and sharing stories of Earth. Your world sounds beautiful, Vexalia said as they viewed pictures of Earth's oceans and forests on a large screen. So much water and so many different life forms. Earth has its problems too, Jack replied. But yes, it is beautiful in many ways. Dr. Nancy Reed entered the room, followed by another human scientist named Paul Green. Both carried data tablets and looked excited. "We've made a breakthrough," Nancy announced. "We now understand why Vexalia produces the fear effect, and why humans are immune." Jack and Vexalia turned their full attention to the scientists. "The Vixari evolved in a region of space with unique radiation patterns," Paul explained. "This shaped their biology to include quantum communication abilities." Nancy continued, "These abilities create fields that resonate at specific frequencies. Most galactic species evolved with predators or threats that operated at similar frequencies. Their brains recognize these patterns as danger signals. But humans never encountered such threats on Earth," Jack guessed. "Exactly," Nancy nodded. "Earth's strong magnetic field and our isolated solar system protected us from the cosmic radiation that influenced other species. Our brains never developed the same fear responses." Vexalia's skin shifted to a lighter shade of blue. "And the sickness affecting my people." Paul brought up a new set of charts on his tablet. "Your people are suffering from radiation poisoning. A nearby star in your cluster has begun emitting pulses that are altering your quantum biology. It's causing your natural fields to amplify and become unstable." "Can it be treated?" Vexalia asked. Her 6 eyes focused intensely on the scientists. Nancy and Paul exchanged glances. "We believe so," Nancy said cautiously. "Human cells show remarkable resistance to the type of radiation affecting your people. We might be able to develop a treatment using modified human genetic material." The door to the room slid open. 3 council security officers entered, keeping their distance from Vexalia. Behind them came a tall, thin alien with metallic skin. "Ambassador Krell," Jack said, surprised to see the representative from the powerful Xanthi Empire. Krell's face was rigid with effort as he fought against the fear Vexalia's presence caused him. "The Council wishes to speak with you immediately, Lieutenant Miller." In the main council chamber, Jack stood before representatives of 27 spacefaring civilizations. Many looked uncomfortable, even suspicious. "We have concerns about this situation," the council leader said. "Some members believe humanity's immunity to the Vixari quantum field is not natural." "What do you mean?" Jack asked. A representative with 4 arms and blue fur spoke up. "Humans appeared on the galactic scene only 30 years ago. Yet you possess a unique ability that no other species has developed in millions of years of evolution. It seems convenient." Jack felt a flash of anger. "Are you suggesting we engineered ourselves somehow? That's ridiculous. Earth was isolated until we developed space travel. We had no knowledge of other species." "Perhaps," the blue-furred alien said, "or perhaps humans were designed long ago by some ancient power as weapons against quantum-sensitive species." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Jack realized the situation was becoming dangerous. Some council members saw humans as a threat now, not as helpful allies. "We came here in peace," Jack said firmly. "We're offering to help the Vixari. If you have concerns about humanity, address them directly instead of making wild accusations." The council leader raised a hand for silence. "No one is making official accusations, Lieutenant, but you must understand our caution. A species immune to a basic fear response that affects all others is concerning." As Jack left the chamber, he saw a group of aliens in the corridor talking urgently. They fell silent as he passed. One reached for a weapon but was stopped by another. Jack quickened his pace. The situation was becoming complicated. Humanity wasn't just seen as helpful anymore. They were seen as dangerous. And somewhere in that mix of fear and suspicion, the fate of Vexalia's people hung in the balance. Jack returned to the medical lab where the human team worked. He found Nancy and Paul arguing with 2 council security officers. Vexalia watched from behind a barrier, her skin a dark, worried purple. "What's happening?" Jack asked. Nancy turned to him, her face flushed with anger. "They want to move Vexalia to a more secure facility. They claim it's for safety, but they won't let any of us go with her." "We have orders," the larger security officer said. He wouldn't look directly at Vexalia. "The Council is concerned about potential dangers." Jack stepped between them and Vexalia. "She came here for help. She's not a prisoner." "The situation has changed," the officer replied. "We have reports of more Vexari ships approaching Council space. Some members see this as a possible threat." This was news to Jack. "More Vexari are coming here." Vexalia moved closer to Jack. "I sent a message to my people when your scientists discovered the cause of our sickness. I told them there was hope for a cure." Her voice trembled slightly. "They are desperate for help. Many are very sick." The security officer's hand moved toward his weapon. "Step away from her, Lieutenant." "No," Jack said firmly. "Vexalia is under Earth's protection now. If you want to move her, you'll need official permission from Earth's ambassador." The standoff might have turned ugly if Commander Olivia Ward hadn't entered the lab at that moment. Tall and confident in her Earth Diplomatic Corps uniform, she assessed the situation quickly. "Is there a problem here, Lieutenant Miller?" she asked. "These officers want to remove Vexalia to a secure facility. I was explaining that she has Earth's protection." Olivia nodded and turned to the security officers. "I am Commander Ward, second in command of Earth's diplomatic mission. I can confirm that Vexalia has been granted protected status by Earth. Any attempt to forcibly remove her will be considered a direct violation of diplomatic agreements." The officers hesitated, then backed down. "The Council will hear about this," one said before they left. "They certainly will," Olivia replied. "I've already filed a formal complaint about this harassment." When they were gone, Jack introduced Commander Ward to Vexalia. The commander arrived with the latest group from Earth. "I brought something that might help," Olivia said. She opened a case she had carried in. Inside was a small device. "Our engineers developed this based on the data your team collected. It should dampen the quantum field Vexalia produces." Nancy took the device and examined it. "If this works, it could allow other species to approach her without fear." "Let's test it," Paul suggested. They activated the device. A soft hum filled the air, and a slight shimmer appeared around Vexalia. "Now we need a volunteer from another species," Jack said. They didn't have to wait long. A medical officer from the Trill species had been helping the human team from a distance. When asked, she nervously agreed to test the device. The Trill woman entered the room slowly. Jack saw sweat on her forehead as she approached Vexalia. Usually, aliens couldn't get within 10 feet without collapsing in terror. Step by step, the Trill moved closer. 6 feet away, 5 feet, 4 feet. "I feel fear," she admitted, "but it's manageable. Like a bad dream rather than pure terror." This was progress, but before they could celebrate, alarms blared throughout the station. The overhead speakers crackled with an urgent message. "Security alert. Unauthorized ships have breached our defenses. All personnel to emergency stations." Through the lab windows, Jack saw several sleek ships approaching the station. They weren't Vexari vessels. "Those are Xanthi warships," Olivia said, her face grim. "Ambassador Krell's people." "Why would they attack the station?" Paul asked. Vexalia's skin turned almost black with emotion. "They don't want a cure discovered. Some species would prefer my people to die out rather than risk our survival." Jack looked at the approaching ships and realized the situation had just become much more dangerous. What had started as a medical mystery was now turning into a potential war. Chaos filled the Council station as people ran for safety. Jack, Olivia, and the human medical team quickly gathered their equipment. "We need to get Vexalia out of here," Jack said. "The Xanthi ships are targeting this section of the station." Nancy pointed to a screen showing a station map. "There's a small medical ship in Docking Bay 3. We could use that." "Too risky," Olivia replied. "The docking bays will be watched. We need another option." Vexalia stepped forward. "My ship is still here. It's small at fast, and the controls are simple." Paul looked doubtful. "But we'd need to cross half the station to reach it." A loud explosion shook the room. The lights flickered, then went out. Emergency lighting cast everything in a red glow. "We don't have a choice," Jack decided. "Commander Ward, can you contact Earth and let them know what's happening?" Olivia nodded and moved to a communication panel. The rest of the team packed up the most important research data and equipment. Jack turned to Vexalia. "Lead the way to your ship. I'll go first, then you, with Nancy and Paul behind us." The corridors were filled with smoke and frightened station staff. Most ran in the opposite direction when they saw Vexalia, their natural fear response intensified by the emergency situation. This actually helped clear a path for the small group. They were halfway to the docking bay when they encountered Ambassador Krell and 2 Xanthi soldiers. The soldiers immediately raised their weapons. "Stop right there," Krell ordered. "The Vixari female will come with us." Jack stepped in front of Vexalia. "She's under Earth's protection." Krell's metallic skin gleamed in the emergency lights. "Earth has no authority here, human. The Xanthi Empire has decided the Vixari are too dangerous to exist. Their quantum abilities could be weaponized." "You're afraid of them because you don't understand them," Nancy said. "Their abilities are natural, not weapons." "Natural or not, they are a threat," Krell replied. He gestured to his soldiers. "Take the Vixari. Kill the humans if they resist." As the soldiers moved forward, Jack prepared to fight. But before anyone could act, Vexalia stepped around Jack and faced Krell directly. The Xanthi ambassador stumbled backward, his face twisted in terror. His soldiers dropped their weapons and fell to their knees, trembling. "What are you doing?" Jack asked Vexalia. "I'm concentrating the field," she said, her voice strained. "It hurts to do this, but I can focus it for short periods." They quickly moved past the incapacitated Xanthi. Jack picked up one of the dropped weapons just in case. When they reached the docking bay, they found Vexalia's ship untouched. It was small, with smooth purple-blue skin-like material covering its surface. "Living metal," Vexalia explained as she pressed her hand to the side. A door appeared and opened. "My people build ships that are partly alive." The inside of the ship was bigger than it looked from outside. The controls were strange, more like musical instruments than typical spaceship systems. "Can you fly this?" Jack asked Nancy, who had pilot training. She studied the controls. "I think so, with Vexalia's help." More explosions rocked the station. Through the docking bay windows, they could see the Xanthi warships firing on the Vixari vessels that had just arrived. "We need to get out now," Paul urged, "before they seal the docking bays." As they prepared for takeoff, Olivia rushed into the bay. "I got through to Earth. They're sending ships, but it will take days for them to reach us." She climbed aboard, and the door sealed behind her. Nancy and Vexalia worked the controls together. The ship hummed to life, vibrating gently beneath their feet. On a screen, they could see more Xanthi ships arriving. "Where do we go?" Jack asked. Vexalia looked at the humans who had risked everything to help her. "To my home. To Vixar. It's time you met my people, and we need to bring the cure before more die." The ship lifted smoothly and shot out of the docking bay, its living metal skin shifting to absorb enemy fire as they broke free of the station and accelerated toward deep space. Behind them, the Council station burned, and ahead lay an uncertain journey to a dying world. The journey to Vixar took 7 days. During that time, the humans worked with Vexalia to prepare the treatment for her people. The living ship hummed around them, sometimes adjusting its internal spaces to better suit their needs. "The ship can sense what we want," Vexalia explained when a new room appeared with beds sized for humans. "It tries to keep us comfortable." Jack spent hours talking with Vexalia about her world. He learned that before the sickness, the Vixari had been peaceful explorers and artists. Their music was famous across their local star cluster. "Will we hear some of this music when we arrive?" Jack asked. Vexalia's skin darkened with sadness. "There is little music now. As our people grow sicker, they must live apart from each other. The fear fields grow too strong for even other Vixari to bear. On the 7th day, Nancy called everyone to the ship's control room. "We're approaching Vixar," she announced. Through the viewing screen, they saw a beautiful planet. It had 2 large oceans of deep purple water and 3 major landmasses covered in blue-green vegetation. 2 suns shone in the distance, one golden and one pale blue. "It's beautiful," Olivia said. Vexalia nodded. "Yes, but look closer." As they entered orbit, they saw that the major cities were strangely dark. Many buildings appeared abandoned. "Our cities were once full of light and movement," Vexalia said. "Now most of my people live in isolation." They landed near a small settlement. No one came out to greet them. "They can sense me," Vexalia explained. "They know I have returned, but they cannot come close without pain." "Let's activate the dampening field," Paul suggested. He set up the improved version of the device they had tested on the station. Its range now covered a much larger area. When the field activated, they saw movement in the nearby buildings. Slowly, cautiously, Vixari began to emerge. They looked similar to Vexalia, though with different skin patterns and eye colors. An older Vixari with silver-streaked skin approached. He stopped at the edge of the dampening field, clearly afraid to come closer. "Father," Vexalia said, her voice filled with emotion. The older Vixari took a hesitant step forward, then another. His 6 eyes widened in surprise when he didn't feel the usual wave of fear. In moments, he crossed the distance and embraced his daughter. "The field works," Nancy said, smiling at the reunion. "Now we can start treating people." The human team set up a medical facility in a large empty building. With the dampening field active, sick Vixari could gather without triggering fear responses in each other. The first treatments began that same day. Jack helped organize the Vixari as they came for treatment. Some were so sick they could barely walk. Others carried children whose skin had turned almost black with the disease. "Will the treatment work on everyone?" Jack asked Nancy after watching her inject a young Vixari child. "We think so," she replied. "The worst cases may need multiple treatments, but Paul's latest tests show a 98% success rate." By nightfall, word had spread across the settlement. More Vixari arrived every hour. Jack was amazed at their resilience and hope despite years of suffering. As the twin suns set, casting the landscape in purple and gold light, Vexalia found Jack watching the sky from the building's roof. "You're thinking about something," she said, joining him. "I'm wondering what happens next," Jack replied. "Even if we cure your people, the Xanthi and others still fear you. They tried to wipe you out once. They might try again." Vexalia's skin rippled with changing colors. "Yes, that is why we need Earth's help beyond just medicine. We need allies who can stand with us without fear." Jack nodded slowly. "I think Earth will help. Humans have always been curious rather than fearful. It's both our strength and our weakness." A distant rumble made them both look up. Several ships were entering the atmosphere, their engines glowing in the darkening sky. "Are those Vixari ships?" Jack asked, suddenly tense. "No," Vexalia said, her voice tight with worry. "Those are Xanthi warships. They've followed us here." Jack's hand moved to the weapon he still carried from the station. "Then we need to prepare. This isn't over yet." Alarms sounded throughout the settlement as the Xanthi ships descended. Jack and Vexalia rushed back to the medical facility, where Olivia was already organizing the humans and healthy Vixari into defense teams. "How many ships?" Olivia asked when she saw them. "5 that I could see," Jack replied. "All warships." Nancy looked up from treating a young Vixari. "We can't evacuate everyone. Many are too sick to move." "Then we stand and fight," Jack said firmly. "We need to expand the dampening field to cover more of the settlement." Paul was already working on the device. "I can increase the range, but it will drain power faster. We might only get a few hours." Outside, they heard the roar of ships landing. Vexalia's father, whose name was Nixar, approached the humans. My people will fight to protect our home, but we are weak from sickness, and without the dampening field, we cannot gather in large enough numbers. We need to buy time, Olivia said. If we can hold them off long enough, Earth ships might arrive. I sent our location before we left the station. Jack had an idea. The Xanthi are afraid of the Vixari. What if we use that fear against them? Everyone looked at him with curiosity. Vexalia can concentrate her fear field, Jack explained. Can other Vixari do the same? Nixar nodded slowly. Yes, but it causes pain and drains energy quickly. In our weakened state, it could be dangerous. We don't need everyone, Jack said. Just a small team of your strongest people. We'll create a fear weapon. While Paul expanded the dampening field, Jack, Olivia, and Nixar organized a defense plan. They selected 10 healthy Vixari who volunteered to use their fear fields as weapons. Nancy worried about the volunteers. This could make their condition worse. We'll monitor them closely, Jack promised. Once they're too weak, they'll fall back for treatment. The first Xanthi soldiers appeared at the edge of the settlement just as darkness fell completely. They moved cautiously, weapons ready, clearly expecting resistance. Jack positioned the Vixari volunteers in key locations around the medical facility. Each had a human partner with a communication device. When the Xanthi came within range, the humans would signal the Vixari to drop their dampening protection and project their fear fields. The plan worked better than they hoped. The first wave of Xanthi soldiers collapsed in terror when the Vixari unleashed their fear fields. Some ran blindly away, while others froze in place, unable to move. It's working. Olivia called over the comm system. My team has driven back 20 soldiers without firing a shot. But the victory was short-lived. The second wave of Xanthi came prepared with their own dampening technology. They wore helmets that seemed to reduce the fear effect. They've adapted, Jack warned everyone. Fall back to position 2. The battle turned into a series of advances and retreats. The Vixari volunteers grew weaker with each use of their fear fields. 2 collapsed and had to be carried back for emergency treatment. By midnight, the situation looked grim. The Xanthi had surrounded the medical facility and were preparing for a final assault. Inside, Nancy and her team continued treating the sick, refusing to abandon their patients. We need another plan, Jack said to Olivia as they watched the Xanthi positioning for attack. Before she could answer, the night sky lit up with new engine flares. Everyone looked up, expecting more Xanthi reinforcements. Those aren't Xanthi ships, Vexalia said, her skin brightening with hope. Those are Earth ships. 3 large Earth vessels descended through the atmosphere, their weapon systems already targeting the Xanthi positions. A voice boomed over an external communication system. This is Captain Steve Allen of the Earth Defense Force. All Xanthi forces are ordered to stand down immediately or face fire. The Xanthi soldiers hesitated, clearly surprised by the human intervention. Their commander shouted orders, and they began to fall back toward their ships. Inside the medical facility, the humans and Vixari cheered. Jack put his arm around Vexalia's shoulders in a gesture of friendship. I told you Earth would stand with your people, he said. Vexalia's skin glowed with a beautiful blue light. You kept your promise. My people will not forget this. As the Earth ships landed and human soldiers secured the area, Jack realized that a new chapter was beginning, not just for the Vixari, but for humanity's place in the galaxy. 3 months passed on Vixar. The Earth ships had brought more medical supplies, equipment, and personnel. Thousands of Vixari had been treated for the radiation sickness, and the results were better than anyone expected. Jack stood at the window of the new Earth Embassy, watching Vixari children play in the courtyard below. Their skin shimmered with healthy colors, and they moved without pain or fear of hurting each other. They recover so quickly, said Captain Steve Allen, who had stayed to oversee the Earth Defense Force presence. Children always do, Jack replied. The adults take longer, especially those who were in the late stages of the disease. Nancy entered the room carrying data tablets. Her team had worked day and night to perfect the treatment. "The latest results are excellent," she announced. "The genetic therapy is working in 99.3% of cases. Even better, we found a way to make the dampening field technology more efficient. The new generators can cover an entire city with minimal power usage." "That's great news," Jack said. "It means the Vixuri can rebuild their society without fear of hurting each other." "And it has another benefit," Nancy added. "With the dampening fields in place, other species can visit Vixur without experiencing fear. The council representatives are already planning a diplomatic visit next month." The door opened, and Vexalia entered. Her skin had a healthy blue glow, and she moved with newfound energy. Behind her came Olivia and a group of Vixuri and human officials. "The council meeting is about to begin," Vexalia said. "They're waiting for us." Jack nodded and followed the group to the large meeting hall. Inside, view screens showed representatives from 23 different species, including the council leader. "This emergency session of the Interstellar Council is now open," the council leader announced. "We are here to discuss the situation with the Vixuri people and to address the actions of the Xanthi Empire." Ambassador Krell was notably absent from the meeting. After the failed attack on Vixur, the Xanthi Empire had recalled him and denied any knowledge of his unauthorized actions. "The Council has reviewed the evidence provided by Earth and the Vixuri," the leader continued. "We find that the Xanthi Empire violated multiple Council laws in their attempt to attack a peaceful species. Sanctions will be applied." This was a victory, but Jack knew the real purpose of the meeting was what came next. "We also recognize the heroic efforts of Earth in saving the Vixuri people from extinction. The treatment developed by Earth scientists has been shared freely with all Council races, demonstrating humanity's commitment to the greater good." The leader's face became more serious. "However, these events have raised important questions about humanity's unique abilities and their place in galactic affairs." Jack tensed, but Olivia placed a calming hand on his arm. After much debate, the leader said, "The Council has decided to offer Earth full membership status, with a special designation as interspecies mediators. Humanity's unique immune response to certain quantum effects makes them invaluable bridges between species that might otherwise remain forever separated by biology." The announcement caused excited murmurs among both the human and Vixuri delegations. Full membership usually took decades to achieve, yet Earth had been offered it after just 30 years of galactic contact. "We accept this honor with gratitude," Olivia replied formally. After the meeting ended, there was a celebration. Vixuri musicians performed for the first time in years, their hauntingly beautiful music filling the air. Jack found Vexalia standing alone, watching her people with joy. "You saved us," she said simply when he joined her. "We helped each other," Jack corrected. "Your people taught us that being different isn't always a weakness. Sometimes it's exactly what's needed." Vexalia's skin rippled with patterns that Jack had learned meant happiness. "The stars are open to both our peoples now. The Vixuri can explore again, and humans have found their place among the galactic community." "As bridge builders," Jack said thoughtfully. "I like that role." "It suits you," Vexalia agreed. "Your people see possibilities where others see only fear." As night fell on Vixur, the twin suns setting in a spectacular display of color, Jack thought about the strange journey that had brought him here. A junior lieutenant assigned to a dangerous mission had somehow helped forge a new future for two species. And it had all started because one human wasn't afraid to approach an alien woman who terrified an entire galaxy.